after this one, we still got a whole another day of League of Legends coming your way in this first week. First of 3.
Let's go!
Let's go! It's a Dagda signature. Moments away from Champions Select for Astralis and Heretics. And Heretics was a little bit loose yesterday, but they did find the win. Astralis were not able to do so. But I'm really hyped about this game because last game was quiet for like the first 20-ish minutes.
Yeah. No.
These two teams, hell nah. They're going to fight. They're going to fight a lot. Let's get amped. Let's get excited. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Game 5 picks and bans. Get your ban Yuumi chants ready. Let's go! That's commitment.
I am impressed that that one dude is louder than the entire rest of the crowd.
Yo, shout out to you.
Yeah.
Just saying, death metal, consider it. All right, Cesare, LeBlanc, Vi. Maybe we'll see something else banned here. Jankos debating, do they want to ban Yuumi? Is it worth enduring the ire of the crowd?
Yeah, I mean, I think the big ones are still going to be like, we saw them ban the Annie yesterday. They're actually going to let that one slip through, but Zaya, the Milio now ban, I feel like it's a no-brainer to ban the Yuumi here just to make sure that you're going to be completely fine. But it does mean that you're leaving Neeko open, so maybe they're like, here, look, Zeri is banned, the biggest offender with the Yuumi, so maybe it's just a Neeko ban, let Yuumi through, and we can deal with Yuumi Vetheo with something like the Lucian now.
The commitment here is unreal. No. That poor man just screamed for 2 minutes straight to no avail. First pick time. But is it worth giving up a priority AD carry and Neeko? No. No is the answer.
And I honestly think that's the right answer. Because think about it, right? The biggest things we've seen is like the Yuumi Zeri popping off. And like we have seen Yuumi being paired with something like an Aphelios, but it really hasn't been that strong. Tends to like lose pretty heavily in lane, and it's a case of, okay, can we go for this mega scaling into the later portion of the game and just tie this over? So I actually think it is the right call here from Astralis. And even when you think of Kobbe and JeongHoon, right, they've had the most success when they're able to play these more aggressive bot lanes. So I think actually staying away from that is going to be the better call.
Yeah, get that thumb. That's what the people are here for. They can't have the Yuumi ban, but they can't have that thumb. The heavy signature. Yeah, I'm curious to see now what they're going to prioritize here. The Aphelios Yuumi looked strong by my expectations, but there's the Draven for Flakked.
I don't think you want to take Yuumi into that. I'm going to be completely honest. I think that's going to be a terrible idea. But I love that we're seeing this from Flakked, because one of the things that we were all talking about was, oh, well, Flakked isn't this guy who like wins lane, isn't this guy who's like going to just come out with like a Lucian or something like that. Like, and then he plays Lucian yesterday, pops the hell off, never getting the Draven today. It feels like Flakked wants to come in and really make a statement in these opening days of LEC Summer to show that he is actually at a point where he wants to be a mainstay card for Heretics and be a lane that they can massively play around.
And, you know, 75% win rate in terms of his overall career on the champion.
That's all right.
Flakked, like a guy who's like to pick it up, and I don't know if we've seen it quite as much in the LEC. I do remember some impressive games during his time on G2. Haven't watched enough of the Super League to say. But obviously, paired alongside the Nautilus, very aggressive lane. Fire with fire here on the bottom side. And this is super exciting because I think this is an excellent opportunity for Flakked and Mersa to test themselves. Yesterday, they definitely got the better of Xcook and DOS. Kobbe and JeongHoon, one of our most consistent bot lanes last season. They did have a rough day one yesterday. But if you can take these guys down, it's a huge positive indicator for the future of Heretics this season.
Also, just to see what Vetheo is going to bring out here, because when you've got the Maokai now, you've actually got the opportunity to try and open up something like an AD mid laner for yourself. So I'm curious to see what Vetheo is going to bring. I know he hasn't had the best of results on things like the Jace in the past, but I honestly think Jace could be a really sick pickup here. But
also, picking an AD mid laner into leader,
yeah,
scary. Also, side note, we've seen 2 different versions of Neeko. Leader's going to be the transform into random stuff Neeko. I can feel it. This man cooks for a living. That's what he does. He's always trying to find a way. He does not want to play the meta. Wants to play melee champions, and now he can play a ranged champion that can turn into a melee champion, and that's close enough.
I love how they're like, we're not convinced at all that this is actually going to be the mid lane Neeko, because you do assume it, but we have seen a lot of jungle Neeko. And I'm also down to see 113, and who is a little bit of like, I'm going to get into your jungle 24/7 and just be in your face. Now do that as like a blast cone and just wait for you to walk over him. So that's exactly what the game plan is. But still, I think when you look towards this, Evie, take something into that top side. The JC is going to be banned away like we talked about. I think that would have been a really sick pick, but we'll have to see now what Vetheo is going to go back towards in that mid lane.
What is the option going to be? Really do love the Jace Maokai combo, so good to see it taken away. Been pretty powerful for Heretics.
It's going to be Azir, isn't it?
I don't mind Azir. It makes me cringe a little bit to say it, because as far as scaling picks go, he was the scalingest. But new Azir, a bit more exciting, a bit more interesting. Still a lot of scoops, but the Renekton for now. The blind pick for Evie. This champion has looked very powerful in certain players' hands. We'll see if Evie can be one of them in this game here.
It is interesting to see though that we haven't really seen Evie go back towards like the Sion and stuff. That we really like. I expected him here to go back towards the Sion, because I think you're actually in a really good spot. Great carrying the bot side, easy to try and play around, and then actually just look to go for these big team fights. And I think Astralis have kind of copped that as well here. Finn going to take the Sion away instead, and now we're going to find out what 113 I feel like is going to be the one piling. I think we get Neeko mid, and honestly you can go back towards things like a Xin Zhao here that can be really, really good, where you can just try and tank up a lot of that frontline stuff. Even something like a Sejuani as well. You got two big beefcakes in front of this composition. Let the Lucian do his thing. I feel like you're in a pretty good spot.
Ooh, the Jarvan going to be the lock-in. Draven, then a mobile champion. Struggles to get a way out. There's no real defensive tools present for the Draven at this point on the Heretics composition, so opting for the Jarvan here. Interesting choice to say the least, but certainly now feels like the Neeko is confirmed for the mid lane.
It's also because when I think of Jarvan, I'm like, I kind of want something that I can at least threaten that backline with them. Even something well like the Ahri that was just over there in the mid lane. So when you go in and dive onto the Draven, you've actually got some follow-up. But when you look at this composition, I mean, Renekton, Maokai are going to be happy to block things like the Culling. It's kind of difficult for Neeko to really follow up if Jarvan's diving that deep. So I think for the moment, Flakked's actually going to be in a reasonably okay spot. Now with the Ahri, you've got to set up for a really strong dive opportunity instead on towards people like Kobbe if he ever gets locked up by something like the Twisted Advance or something from the Renekton as well.
Yeah, and a bit of a weird team because Astralis have so many tools for a great front-to-back team fight, except for the hyperscaling AD carry. Lucian obviously scales pretty well, but his short range can be super limiting in late game fights. And against champions like Maokai and Renekton, you know, if you've got the cooldowns, you certainly can style on them a little bit, but it's going to be tough to survive in these fights with the Nautilus on the enemy team as well. This is a bit of an odd draft, I feel like.
I was going to say, yeah, because I feel like you nearly not want to Lucian. You'd love something like a Jinx in this composition, where you're like, oh, cool, I can just play at range, because everyone runs into Sion, runs into the knock-up from the Neeko, runs into even Jarvan, who can try and play Peel to a certain extent, but Lucian doesn't really fit that bill, where, yeah, he's got the Culling, but he still wants to play forward a lot closer to his front line, then you'd probably be more comfortable. And the opposite side as well, you don't really have the... You've some setup, I will say, for the Draven when you come towards these team fights, but I think it's just the Renekton just feels a bit screwy to me in this composition.
I am liking the sheer quantity of big boys on both sides, though. Jarvan, Sion versus Maokai, Renekton, Nautilus. It's the scissor draft. They need them polar bear arms. Let's see how it looks as we get in the game. Astralis versus Heretics. I like the energy, Berlin. Got a wonderful crowd tonight. Oh, also shout out Pierre if you're in the audience. We saw Pierre at the climbing gym this morning. A couple other people, but we only got Pierre's name, so Pierre gets the shout out. Give us a name if you meet us.
Also, not a shout out to the people that were partying in my apartment above me last night because I couldn't sleep and then go climbing. So I missed out on Pierre. I missed out.
True. But you know what you won't miss out on, Dagda? Is a leader Neeko game. Because again, if there's anyone who's going to do weird stuff in the game of League of Legends in our league, it's Caps and Leader. And Caps got his shot, and now we'll see what Leader looks like.
I like how we got like both ends of the spectrum, as he said as well. We've got the I'm going to be anything and everything at all points in time into the no, I'm just going to like throw out a couple of bramble bars, see if they stick, and do my job on the opposite end from Nuke. So I'm curious as to where exactly Leader lands. I think there is a happy middle ground that you can hit, and I'm hoping that's what we get to see from Leader. But realistically, I think all eyes are on the bot lane here. Flakked on this Draven, Kobbe going in towards the Lucian Nami. This is going to be all out aggression, and already you can see Mersa taking a very aggressive step forward on this. Wants to see if he can land the hook on towards the Nami, especially as the level 2 is going to start to creep over.
We mentioned it already. The rock-solid, reliable core of Astralis across their entire rise in the previous split was Kobbe, alongside JeongHoon in this bottom lane. But after what we saw from Flakked yesterday, wait to see, nothing much going to happen there. You know, kind of seeing what else Flakked can do, because it was an incredible start for him. Yes, there were some moments where some people wanted him to hit specific things, maybe more or less. But statistically, that's a damn good game. Those are disgusting numbers coming out from Flakked on that Lucian alongside the Milio. Now we get to see what he can do with the Stranger.
Especially when questions were thrown up about what Flakked was going to bring to the team. Well, we got to exactly see yes and a. Now Jankos going to get onto Finn here.
He's going forward. Finn just going to try to flash out of safety. Ebby now looking to follow up. The stun is there. Can they run this Sion down? He's just moving now back to the wave, trying to clear this one out, get this one to crash into the tower. Is there. We'll just eat the wave. Get that one in. And start to hit Ebby too, but won't be able to finish the job. First blood over to the side of Team Heretics.
And nicely done by Jankos. We've seen this a lot when he goes up towards that top side, towards Ebby. First few levels on his first clear, make sure that he's able to get that. But you can even see where 113 is at the moment. He's gone for a full clear, so not actually going to be able to get into the opposite side and punish Jankos realistically, especially when you've already got that full push from Heretics onto the bot side, which is actually given an early recall to Flakked, who's gone back for a Doran's Blade.
Solid to have. Definitely a decent advantage here. Just trying to keep the axis stacked as he returns to lane, give his jungler a little bit more of a leash. One obnoxious interaction to consider. I'll hold that thought. Heavy leaping face first into the decimating smash. Controversial strategy, but has enough sustain in the kit that it's not going to hurt him too much quite yet. Nice sidestep from Kobbe. Mersa going a little bit wide on that hook, rather. He did just kind of dash face first in there.
Yeah, a little bit difficult with the minions coming through. Was trying to see if he could maybe creep that one just around. But, I mean, Ebby actually getting some good trades against Finn here in that top side. He'll now be able to take a reset and TP into lane, whereas you can see Finn has already started to see if he can maybe get the reset in for himself as well as Ebby is coming back into that top lane. But at least should give a nicer reset for the Renekton in that top side. So at the moment, at least, Heretics off to a good start. I think, though, it is going to be a case of trying to transition this pressure that we've already got into the bot side. And Jankos has taken a hit when it comes towards his jungle camps. He will be struggling if he meets 113 in a lot of these early matchups just because he's given so many advantages over towards his laners. But if you can actually make it work now for Flakked, it's all going to pay off in the long run.
Definitely will. Going to be all about that cash out, keeping our eyes on the Draven stacks. 84, you can see just above his level in the champion portrait there on the right-hand side of your screen. Ebby making this wave crash to demolish. Not doing too much work there. Not going to be able to grab a plate here as Finn can just step up, but Ebby keeping that Fury bar ready, just constantly threatening. And we got to see a little bit of some of the more obnoxious things Neeko can do. You can obviously have the clone recall. Vetheo's kind of spotted it out, and now we'll see if Jankos can make another gank happen in the mid lane. Always a bit tough to get the setup here. The clone can be used to at least attempt to body block the charm.
The big one on that, though, is that it does take a little bit of a second for the clone to, like, become a thing. So it can actually catch you out sometimes where it'll slip past through the clone. But one of the big things that we've seen a lot, actually, with that kind of clone reset is actually just early game, if you get that push, using it as a secondary ward. So you just send it into the enemy jungle, let it recall. It'll actually do the full duration of the recall whenever it starts it. So it means you get essentially the full 8 seconds of, hey, I'm just going to spot out if the enemy jungle comes for his raptor camp, if he tries to move around for red. So it can actually be used to get a good amount of information in the early stages.
Sort of like a little mini Callistic Ghost in terms of the information it can provide. Definitely nice to have that safety as 113. Going to face tank a couple Saplings here. Notice Jankos not going for the first strike. Don't think we'll see the full AP build, instead more focused on being a tank. Does mean a bit of an AD heavy composition, but shouldn't hurt too much. They're connecting there on the snare. Big chunk of damage onto Vetheo. I believe the third proc on that W auto as well. 113 just waiting in the darkness. And again, forcing Ariel out in lane can be devastating for some of these early fights.
But Drakos, I have a bone to pick with you. You promised me that this was going to be fighting from the get-go. We're 6 minutes in. 6 minutes. And we have
I lied to you, Dagda. I let you down. I set an expectation and I didn't follow through, which was rude of me because I don't control these players. If I did, they'd fight all the time. And we'd be even worse at international events. So be very grateful that I don't. But Flakked is stacking. And eventually he has to die or cash in. So there's a feeling of inevitability in this game, Dagda.
It is just weird to me that we're kind of seeing the path that Jankos is going for, though, because a huge amount of it is like moving into this bottom side, as there's not really a position on the map for him to try and play around Flakked and Mersa. Like, he made that play top for Ebby. That I'm totally fine with, but as he came back into bot side, well, Flakked had gone for the reset as well, so they weren't really able to sync up then at that stage. Also, you had the push that was coming through Kobbe and JeongHoon, so not really an opportunity there. Now you can see again where you're getting this big wave pushed in, but there's actually not really much vision on this bottom side, or really a position for Jankos to cover. So there's definitely moments here, if 113 can spot them out, to punish Flakked and Mersa with the position that they have, or even just blow a summoner spell and make life significantly easier for Kobbe and JeongHoon.
Yeah. Right now, the gold, 300 in the favor of Heretics, advantages in the support position, interestingly enough. Relic Shield procs, it would seem. Alongside with the Renekton, but 600 gold in favor of the Neeko. Neeko continuing to win out in so many of these early laning phases against the Ahri. 11 CS lead as this wave crashes, though. Leader is going to miss a few.
I see a...
Before the storm, but where is the storm? And that is an extra... Dang it, I thought he was going to stay.
So did I. I was like, okay, we got this. But realistically, I think you have to get jungler intervention here as 113 to do something. And it looks like he's just going to show up to get that push. They want to try and look for Rift Herald. And if you end up giving that advantage over to Heretics, you're not going to be in the best of spots. But with Leader already having control, the potential knockup from 113, I'd be very surprised if Jankos tries to commit to this. I'd actually just prefer him to just walk bot. Just, you know what, screw this. I'm just going to go and make a play, potential dive, or even trade for Dragon, because you're just not in a position to really fight this.
The ward is there. Team Heretics have the information. They'll clear out the control ward. Leader, now also a control ward. Waiting in the darkness. Flashing in. The Nakamura going to connect on Jankos here. Sion coming in as well. Can they burn through the Maokai? They're just going to try to shred that health bar. They'll be able to do so. No opportunity to Twisted Advance to mitigate any damage, but they get the kill. But now Vetheo is looking for a bit of follow-up here. Finn certainly dead. We'll try to find that one. Meanwhile, on the bottom side, Flakked looking for the cash-in. Can he find it? Finn buying as much time as humanly possible. The Draven still standing. The Draven desperate to finish the kill. He's about to lose so much money. Oh my God, he's broke. Oh no, he's bankrupt.
I wanted to start it off so well on the top side for Heretics. It is a disaster on the bottom end. Heretics managing to just interrupt that play, but the fact that Flakked goes down is going to give so much of an opportunity over to Kobbe and JeongHoon.
900 gold lead. So many stacks lost from Flakked. Oh, that's crushing.
Quicker reset.
JeongHoon, fast reset. I think...
Don't question it. Don't question it. He just got 2 kills.
And
He's allowed to do whatever he wants.
And finally, violence came, and it came honestly too much to process. So now we can look back on it.
Yeah, I think this was just a bit of a mess up here coming through from Astralis. You've got the missed flag and drag coming through from 113, means that a large chunk of his damage is just off the table. So it gives the opportunity then for Heretics to start to follow up here. And even the positioning as well as actually...
113, not trying to run. He does get the Herald. Can they stop him from taking it? Jankos looking for a bit of revenge. The Arcane Smash. He's going to flash it to safety. Leader now going to take that one away as Finn just backs off there. But yeah, good. I think they're very fortunate to get the Jankos killed all in that circumstance. Yeah. They certainly had the damage to finish him off, but between the Maokai passive and the Twisted Advance to mitigate the follow-up, the CC layering, even with the missed flag and drag, was good enough to finish the job. The really devastating blow is on the bottom side of the map, because Draven is a champion that, I mean, if you find that kill, that's so much money. Even if you die, it's absolutely worth it, and it feels like very much in your favor. But now, being behind the Lucian who's matching you in terms of Serrated Dirk, who now has the BF sword up, you can only trade on Sheen autos. He can trade on every auto.
It's also things like the Imperial Mandate that'll come through a little bit quicker for JeongHoon. Even though it's not a mythic anymore, we're still going to see a huge amount of that come through. You've even got opportunities for like the Eku's Heavy and that are very, very strong. So you've got a lot of opportunities here as JeongHoon to provide extra damage. And we've even seen like it's gotten to the point now where a lot of Lucians are going for like Sork shoes when they're paired with the Nami as well, because so much of your damage is actually magic damage at this stage in the early point. It gives you a ton of control in that bot lane as well. But with the magical boots now being completed for Kobbe, I'd be very surprised if he opted in towards the the Sork shoes at this stage. It's much more of a, hey, we want to try and bully our lane state that little bit more, rather than the later, better option, I'll say, of having the other options of your boots.
And a small window of opportunity here to try to take Kobbe out of the equation. He sees no cleanse, no flash. Cleanse coming up shortly, however. So Astralis playing with a little bit of caution as Team Heretics could potentially start this objective, but are just backing off. Only an 800 gold lead, almost all of that on the bottom side for Heretics, although it's kind of split across lanes. Evie, the one big lead for Heretics overall. Maybe he can be the difference maker in the fights to come. A lot of potential backline threat with that Renekton if he can find a flank. Remember, teleport's no longer gated at 14, instead it is now 10, so room to make some cross-map plays here. Look, gonna connect onto the Nami. Mersa overstaying his welcome, just gets one shot, the TP's not even complete. Evie's finally here, Vethio's finally here, but it's a double TP, and they're gonna make it work! Two members coming into the bottom side of the map to feed Flakked the double, and that's gonna be more than enough money to balance the scales.
Heretics even got the dragon in the middle of all that as well. Astralis though trying to fight back. Terror in mid, under pressure. A lot of damage going to come through onto Jankos, but Finn is well on that top side. Going to take some plates as well on this Sion. So Jankos now has Vetheo here, but the Terror, a lot of gold going over to leader.
And the gold almost dead even now on the back of that play, as well as the Drake over to the side of Team Heretics. Vetheo connecting the charm onto leader. Leader going to be in trouble now. Does he have the W, the shape shift? And there it is. Doesn't manifest fast enough. Evie hits him with a point and click. Makes quick work of him. Big boon to the side of Heretics. And Evie, 105, 100% kill participation. We got used to Cassante, we got used to Sion, but showing up on this Renekton.
I mean, top laners are definitely not supposed to have that, but really nice job here for JeongHoon. Completely baits out Mersa. Mersa takes it happily, thinking that he's got a kill, but instead you've got the TPs then that come through from Heretics, also responding to what the Astralis wanted to try and achieve. And the fact you got 2 kills over towards the Draven in that is going to be massive in getting him back on check. I think Triforce now completed for Flakked. He's going to be huge with this pickup.
Both AD carries pretty big at this stage of the game. Astralis finally breaking open mid. Kobbe has to be a bit more careful as he steps up there. Those Sheen procs on the Triforce. Huge, huge damage. Flakked just continuing to stack up, and kind of an interesting exchange of plays. And again, shout out to the TP changes. That double TP bot play would not have been possible in the previous season. And I do like seeing more action on the bot side. It's like flashback to 2018, 2019. Double TP bot every single game, 5v5.
And it is interesting because like a lot of the changes that we saw with like the minion changes or like removing blast cones until later on in the game is like, oh, well, we want to try and make laners safe. And they're like, but only till like a very
moment. We want
then
you
it's
to be
like,
safe for like 10 minutes exactly.
Yeah, and then it's all hell breaks loose everywhere.
Then you're gonna die. You're either gonna kill somebody or you're gonna die. So here we go. Okay. No, leader, you have to commit to the bit. All right. Leader has so far been the middle ground between the two Neekos we've seen. He's transformed a lot more, but he has never stuck with it.
I mean, look, if he can actually try and make it work in team fights, that's the big one that I think is going to be it. Again, though, I think a huge amount of this for Astralis is going to be a case of, like, trying to have 1-1-3, dive onto Flakked, keep him interested in dealing damage onto the Jarvan as, like, Leader and Kobbe are trying to deal with the front line. You don't have a mega tank in the same way you do with the Sion on the side as...
Got him.
Will get knocked up, but I think the big one is trying to see, okay, can we actually play around vision like we're seeing at the moment, like keep Heretics pushed in. There's 1-1-3.
1-1-3 getting charmed now, just knows the ball of CC is coming, trying to keep play going. It's Leader off to the backside, but the Draven Axe is coming in. The kill will not go over to the Draven, however, it's going over to the Nautilus. Axe is now coming back. Vetheo 3 charges. Where's the charm gonna go? He's going to connect on the Kobbe. Kobbe forced to flash out of the wall. That's big. Flakked now coming in. Not a lot of mana. Needs to keep that axe stacked. The flash forward. Leader now trying to turn the exhaust has going down. And that's another kill for Flakked. Oh, that first death was rough, but he just keeps cashing in.
Flakked is unleashed now that he's back at the LEC. 2.0 coming in as Flakked. And my God, he is looking fantastic. Finn, though, doesn't want to try and go towards that bush at the moment, going to just back away. But this is exactly what we wanted. Like, the ability to actually get some kills down towards Flakked. He did take the early death, but he has more than made up for it now with the team being able to support him on some of these kills.
That's going to be a big difference. See what he wants to go for next. Obviously, Bloodthirster changed, but loving lifesteal on Draven perpetually. Now you can see 1-1-3 kind of caught out here. I think he feels like he has to force the engage at this point or just get taken down. And it's a good engage. It's a very good start for Astralis, but in the extended fight, this Ahri really starts to do some work.
Yeah, especially when you've got leader there who's able to come in with the ultimate as well, but they just don't have the damage to try and take down Jankos as well. Vetheo's doing a great job of catching and pushing people back, and it means that as leader, forced into a really bad position here. Flakked knows when he's got that exhaust, he's going to be able to move forward, won't take too much damage, and being able to pick up that kill again. Like, this is where now Heretics, we saw this yesterday, when they can get Flakked rolling, it did work out well for them in the end. It was just a little, maybe bit of a roundabout road to get to that win at the end of it.
Yeah, and I mean, and again, mostly a solid game, although some small stakes here. Is 1-1-3 again, playing very aggressive, but losing so much help here. Sion, the Herald's already gone, but that's the charge right into the front line. Ebby, though, just zoning away. Finn, is he gonna be able to walk away? Instantly, the re-engage coming in from Mersa. He's starting to turn. Vetheo just dashing out of that Draven ultimate leader off to the backside, trying to connect the charm onto two, but Vetheo still standing, and another 2 kills over to Flakked. The Draven just keeps getting bigger and bigger, and I think they're gonna give him another one. Finn running, nowhere for him to go. Flakked no mana, but it just does not matter. Give the Draven another one.
This Draven is absolutely unleashed. Even has a Rift Herald as well. 1-1-3, should be able to just hop over the wall, but they're going to get Dragon, but it's Flakked who has the Rift Herald, so he is going to be guaranteed that extra gold as well when they ever decide to move in towards the mid lane, or honestly, I wouldn't be surprised to see just Vetheo move down towards the spot lane and pick up the bot lane tower as well. So this is where now there's a bunch of standing gold still on the map for Heretics, and they can really start to balloon this gold lead.
Yeah. This is definitely a be careful who you call broken lane phase kind of game, because that's a 2K gold lead. Wow. I mean, yeah, again, I thought that first death would have been a death sentence, but Flakked keeping his composure, the team playing really. Once they got out of this lane phase, Heretics looking so much more composed and controlled, not phased at all by Astralis getting aggressive here.
Yeah, and look, you can see leaders trying to threaten on the side, but he's being matched by Ebby really well here, which means that then Flakked is totally fine. They end up tanking the engage, he gets to move forward, and Flakked is completely untouched. Whereas when you look at Kobbe, he's in bounce house town thanks to Jankos and Mersa, and as the rest of Heretics are able to follow up, it's just so much easier for Heretics to operate in these fights at the moment.
And I think having 3 damage sets on the side of Team Heretics is doing so much work for them in these fights. They can afford to be a little bit split up here as leader. Now walking away from Ebby. Ebby's going to try to go for the dive. Thinks better of it, will back away. Because you saw in that fight, Finn left in, but he's just not really a threat without someone standing behind him, with leader isolated completely. You know, didn't get a whole lot done. The fight cheers coming in. But guys, gotta remember the first rule of Fight Club. I'm just saying. Might as well talk about it.
I definitely think that Heretics, though, may be starting to break this rule. They want to try and move forward here. There's no one really on this top side apart from the fact that Ebby's getting this top lane turret, and there's no real response. So for Astralis, it's just a case of continuously trying to put pressure on the mid lane, so maybe they can threaten Ebby, but it's not really there. And now,
dash through, immediate stun. Now full committing Pop Blossom coming out, and that's a very worthwhile trade. Taking Pop Blossom out of the equation, it's very clutch. The Renekton ult matters in a fight, most certainly. Neeko ult matters a lot more. Herald will charge, they won't be able to get the tower down. 4v4 in the mid lane as the Renekton matches up against the Neeko inside. 3 minutes till Mountain. 40 seconds till Baron. We'll see where Team Heretics want to put their focus, because they are the ones in control of the game at this point. It's
going to be mid lane. They've got now bought 2 minutes essentially, or sorry, 2 waves I should say, where they can actually try and play off the leader not having that ultimate available and keep themselves safe. So Ebby going to keep a pressure on that top side. You can already see they're starting to get vision down, and Kobbe needs to be incredibly careful. You can see where Jankos is positioned. He throws an ultimate over the wall. Flakked has a ton of burst right now. Probably going to even complete his collector on the reset here as well. So you got to be so careful if you're trying to defend this mid lane turret that you're not just getting a ton more people, but no, actually going to be the LDR coming through, just being aware that Sion is starting to become a bit of a beefcake in the top side.
I think it makes a lot of sense. A lot of these fights are going to decide about who can kill frontline first, even if it's not traditional front to back in terms of the AD carry choices. So getting that last Whisper, we'll see when he can complete the full LDR. Definitely looking very strong. A lot of potential sustained damage coming out of Kobbe, but having that lifesteal on Draven can make fights so frustrating. If you miscalculate on any aggressive move, you're just not going to be able to kill that champion. Flakked just keeping it stacking. You know, passive income, constantly.
And that's the thing, BT has become such a strong item as well with the 18% lifesteal you get is TP committed.
Engage now coming out. Maokai there, ready for the disengage. 1-1-3 running for his life. Evie can now look to follow up. Tidal wave to disengage. Both sides flexing. Again, you know, I think Cadrel made this reference yesterday, but it's the dogs barking at each other on opposite sides of the door, and then you open the door and nobody actually wants to fight. That was the situation. Mersa Gotta make it out. A lot of ultis committed.
And it is a minute and a half until that next dragon, so at least they should have the majority of them up, but it just felt like a little bit of a desperation from Astralis. There was no need for Finn to really TP in. Now you can see that when you start to look towards the dragon in mid-time, well, Ebby's already crashed in that, or pushed in that top side. He can reset, move back in onto that top end of the map, keep the pressure up, and Finn is just going to be stuck there. So you kind of got options here as Heretics, where you've already got mid-prio, so you have options to move in towards dragon if you want to. You can always join Ebby on that top side. It just becomes very hard for Astralis to try and keep the Heretics away from their base.
Oh, let me just down there. All right, Dagda, we're in a predicament now. Just as the Romans were, they brought around the Colosseum. You know, keep public morale high with a bit of blood sport. The crowd is demanding blood, and you can tell this not just because they're
I don't want to fight you, Drakos. I'm real sorry. I'm not.
You would win, Dagda. I am not. I will never try to over-represent myself in that context. But cheering for wards and cheering for fights, they're growing impatient, Dagda.
Well, Astralis have now put themselves into a very difficult spot to get out of, so they might get their look.
Leader, fake minion. Is he gonna hit? Mersa now going in. Flakked still in touch on the backside. Finn is gonna connect on the stun there. Astralis now on the retreat. Knockup gonna connect on the leader. Jankos stepping forward. Finn taken down. Bit of blood coming through. Colosseum currently in the favor of Team Heretics. Astralis, bit of an odd one. Do they want to keep this fight going? Snare gonna whiff there, leader. Just throwing out a bit of poke, and Team Heretics is gonna very happily just take this tier 1 for free. Bit of a head scratcher there from Astralis, just kind of overcommitted. We're able to make it out though with 4 members strong.
Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking. Like, there was enough time on Dragon that Heretics didn't really need to force anything downriver, and it felt like they were like, oh, well, maybe if they're going to commit time to the Dragon, we can actually go for this. But you can see Dragon is even up, and look how far extended they are. Ebby even in a great spot to really just threaten them if they try and enter out towards that top side. So Astralis really do get stuck, and it means that then Leader and Finn, or sorry, not Leader, 113 and Finn end up getting stuck in the middle here. And again, Ebby just constantly threatening Kobbe, so Kobbe can't get into this fight. Whereas once more, Flakked is actually able to free hit onto that front line. And the way Heretics have actually been setting up these fights for Flakked has been really, really good. It's why he's been able to get so much value out of this Draven pick.
And also part of the reason why we were concerned a little bit about the Sion coming through. Finn is still stacking up. Yes, he's at a big deficit, but he's a decently beefy front liner. It's just that you're not really creating space for anyone on the team right now. The Neeko can't throw out a single Nautilus ult, zones your entire backline in these fights, and then you're charging a decimating smash to create space for no one. Kobbe got to culling, and that was essentially it in the fight. If you kind of bits of poke onto the Renekton, these are very hard fights to navigate for the side of Astralis, short of, you know, kind of the perfect Neeko, Jarvan, Wombo combo.
And it's where, if you're Astralis, you have to be able to utilize the fact you have this Lucian Nami to...
Gage coming in, Mersa getting chunked out. The bubble is going to connect, but the buffer on the hook is clutch. Now Flakked caught out, wave coming in. Flakked's going to be able to walk away from that one. It's Leader on the backside. Here comes the Raptor. Here comes the chicken. The knockdown, Finn with the boom. Wombo combo. Blood for Berlin. The crowd goes wild. And Astralis find their angle. Vetheo trying to find redemption on the backside. Finds a kill onto Kobbe. But Astralis taking the fight.
Ebby did a lot of work, though, as he went down, so I actually think it might have dissuaded Astralis from being able to start up the Baron. Yes, they get the kill. Yes, they get onto Flakked with that TP flank from Leader was exceptional, but they won't get much more.
And even if he didn't need to cosplay as a chicken, you gotta respect him for doing it. The Nuggets, they're fighting back. Finn probably won't die here. He's just trying to stop Vetheo from back and getting the chance to reset. Don't know if he's really... Jankos is doing the same thing. No one is allowed to recall in this game. The fight's not over. I didn't hear no bell. Top laner and jungler are saying.
This was sick, though. Really nice TP flank coming through from the Neeko. And again, you think you're in a fairly safe spot here, but Flakked had to burn the flash there because 113 immediately hopped onto him, and it just sets up for Leader. And again, I don't... Like, Mersa spotted the chicken, but you're not really used to seeing chickens that are going to be dangerous. So now,
did you pull the camp? Did you not pull the camp? It's hard to say.
Well, they're both Baron, and Astralis aren't happy about it as Heretics. We still got a lot of safety here in the backline for Flakked.
Vetheo on the flank as well. JeongHoon has to be careful. They've created so much space. Flakked just continuing to hit the objective here. Jankos should be able to smite this one away in a moment. They take the Baron. And now Team Heretics, you just look to follow up. 113 trying to make it out, but Vetheo stepping in. The Charm getting connected to the Leader. That's big. The immediate follow up. The Pop Blossom. Can they turn it back? Jarvan now going in. It's huge damage, but keep your eyes on Flakked. He is still standing. The lifesteal, will it be enough? It looks like it because Ebby versus the entire entire backline of Team Heretics, and Evie is coming out on top. Been the last man standing. They get the Baron, they get the fight. It's a big win for the side of Heretics.
Evie again diving in onto Astralis' backline to make sure that they can buy space for Flakked. Nobody's able to touch the Draven, and it's exactly like we said. Once you have that Jarvan go forward, there's no other real threat. The ace comes through for Heretics, and suddenly Heretics looking pretty good coming into summer.
A single fight. All Astralis really got this game. Otherwise, Team Heretics just about in full control. Looked a little bit rough on some of those initial levels, some of those initial deaths, but 9-2-2 for Flakked. And while Flakked's Draven has been great, I think Evie has been the star of the show this game. So many resources put into Flakked. Evie kind of sitting alone on his island, just single-handedly having such a massive impact in fights.
And look, again, this is just Flakked completely untouched. Great positioning here from Vetheo and Evie to threaten the backline all points. But Vetheo, that charm was perfect. Immediately dissuades any sort of play. And again, Flakked's, like, he's just sitting in the pit. He's just happy to stand here and go, yeah, take your pop shots. I'm just going to be able to lifesteal up with this Bloodthirster. I've got the peel that I really need. And Finn is doing his best, but there's just nothing you can do with all those members of Heretics around.
And if you're Astralis and your burst does not kill Flakked, he's going to win every single fight. Look at that. It's almost 6k damage. Crazily Finn damage numbers. What the hell?
Sunfire is still a thing.
Sunfire. Yeah. Big decimating smash. But total gold. Flakked, very rich. Heavy trailing behind. Okay. Flakked now stepping up. Finn's got to run. He's going to get hooked. That's the top laner down. Going to make it that much easier on this Baron-empowered push. Finn going to do what he can to clear the waves, but it's just not that effective at this point in the game. Flakked life-stealing through any potential Sion damage. Team Heretics looking for a victory lap here in the enemy base.
Very much an oh-no moment from Kobbe as he went in on that one. Dashes forward and immediately regrets life. But Flakked now in a perfect spot. You've got Evie on the bottom side, so they'll escort in mid, they'll move over to bot. Heretics, I mean, if they pick up this win, they will go 2-0. Don't forget, they only picked up 3 wins the entirety of last split, so this is a very good start for Heretics coming into week 1.
And also, this second game, overall, much cleaner. Because let's not forget yesterday, all right? Not to cast or curse here, but yesterday was a roughie. They got there in the end, but that little glimmer of teal, that was a little throw. So for the sake of Team Heretics and Team Heretics fans, we have to hope that they've cleaned it up, and they have cleaned it up thus far. But you've seen Astralis found a few angles to force fights in their favor. But I think with how strong Evie and Flakked both are, it's nigh impossible for Astralis to get a good fight at this stage.
And I mean, with Flakked's stats after today as well, he's going to be looking like the new hottest AD carry in the LEC, because they're going to be absolutely absurd. But Dragon here, Evie on flank.
Again, just going to grab the objective, Mountain Soul, keep that one going. Leader trying to get a little bit of disengage here. They're shredding through at least one. Can they take down Evie? No. Stun coming in, easy kill pickup. Sion just going to retreat here. 3 members still standing for Astralis. JeongHoon, I do not think will get the chance to recall. Jankos just going to stay on top of him, and one Neeko, not enough to clear all those waves.
Especially when you've already got Mersa and Flakked escorting them in. The TP is going to come through from Evie in a second as well to try and keep those waves alive. You can see it there. As Flakked now moves forward.
Bit of a poke down, interrupt on the decimating smash to stop the wave clear. Evie just shredding through the towers. Flakked hitting the towers, hitting the champions, hitting whatever he damn well pleases. Continuing to throw down damage here. He's not going to hit the Nexus. He is going to hit the Nexus. I thought he was just having fun with us, but he's going to finish the game. Flakked closing it out with confidence. Commanding win from Team Heretics.
Flakked's a beast.
Flakked
is a beast coming in. This has been insane. Back-to-back games now. He's put up double figures in that kill score. And you can see Astralis are stunned. That was Heretics look absolutely fantastic with their new additions. Not only, like, we focus a lot on Flakked, right?
Yep.
But Vetheo, so often in these fights, massive charms onto leader, on towards Kobbe, actually setting up these fights perfectly.
Clutch charms, I think for Evie as well. There's just a lot of very positive stories right now on the side of Team Heretics. Because Evie as well is a guy who, his last Sion game that we saw on stage was bad. Yesterday, pretty solid Sion game. Today, great Renekton game. Into a guy like Finn, who's usually so stock standard, who's so reliable, rather, of a player. This time around, Heretics doing a lot of work in the game. A lot of unsung heroes as well, Mersa, finding those setups, finding those hooks to make sure that Evie can get that backline access. But at the end of the day, there's a Draven. There's a turbo-fed Draven. He's going to be the star of the show just about every time.
It was just, it's such a pleasure to see as well, because I think a lot of people were still questioning what we see from Heretics ourselves as well was like, look, we're expecting big things from the mid jungle. When we saw a Vetheo being added, we're like, look, this seems to be the core factor. But I am so pleasantly shocked at how good Flakked has been, how much we've seen both himself and Mersa gel together in such a short period of time to find these successes. And it's now a difficult one because Kobbe and JeongHoon were such a dominant force last split. Well, hasn't been the best of starts for them this split, let's say. But if Flakked and Mersa can keep this one up, I mean, Heretics, how far can they go?
That's a great question. All I know for now is we had a lot of questions when we were making a tier list. One of those questions was not who is your player of the game, but it's one of the questions you need to answer anyway. I always see on Twitter, Evie, Jankos, and Flakked. But one of our questions were, how good are these guys going to be? Because we understood that it would be an upgrade, but we were skeptical. We didn't think it would be a big upgrade. I was the most skeptical. Yeah. You guys both insisted that I was wrong and you thought this would be a rig, and you were right. And you have been right thus far, and I think you guys both deserve credit, you and Cadril, because they have looked fantastic on stage, and I think even better than either of you expected. So credit to Team Heretics. Big turnaround. You know, you had a lot of time after spring, and it seems they have used it very well.
Yeah, and I think that's the big one. It does show that they have been putting the time in, and I think for a lot of guys like Jankos as well have been stuck with this team now, bringing back Flakked as well, the way he's been trying to work with Vetheo. Look, there was, I think that's the big takeaway for me, is that we're seeing this team much more on the same page than we saw last split when it comes towards things like how they want to address the map, how they want to play team fights, and even how quickly they want to try and approach some of these fights. Like we used to see Rift Heralds like first time around where you'd have half the teams in the pit, the other half's running away, but they just seem like they're so much more on the same page now.
Absolutely do. Fantastic thing to see. But now let's hear from the victorious jungler himself as he stands by with Trouble.
Thank you very much, guys. Fantastic cast. Jankos, congratulations on the win. Thank you so much for joining for something a little bit different than the normal. I'm going to have you break down the game with me because you did some fantastic moves in the early game that defined the whole game. And I want to start with your first gank up in the top lane for Evie on the Renekton.
Oh, are we going to play that?
Absolutely, we are going to play that.
Okay, we can play that. I mean, there's not much to say. There is a rule in solo queue that top lane always ends. Whenever you go top lane, you always get a kill because all top laners are dirty inters. So I'm just catching a dirty inter here.
So you're making sure your top laner doesn't end by ganking him first?
There is no excuse to the rule.
Okay.
Every top laner is just a dirty inter.
Yours included. Not this game, though.
I mean, the thing is that this game, my top laner played very well, of course, but normally you cannot go top because bot lane of the map is like more important. But in this case, our bot lane was playing very well, so I was allowed to go top side.
All right, well, talking about top side, there's another fight where you guys having the Fed Renekton, you having the kill as well. You guys tried to go for the Rift Herald. So what happened on this one, Jankos? Run me through.
Okay.
Not yet.
Why do we have a vitality icon?
There you go, there's your icon.
Oh, now we have Heretics. Wait, I think it's playing, but we don't see it. Anyway, though, as you can see, we are contesting the Herald, knowing that we win the fight 3v3. I think here my old man mechanics show, because if I would be like young, I could probably W Neeko ult, or at least W away from it, but because I'm old, I didn't. That being said, I'm still just a dog as a jungler, as a Maokai. So all I have to do is die and make sure that my Ahri and Renekton can clean up, which was done. Wait, are we gonna show the next Herald clip where...
Well, you played well?
No.
Okay.
The next Herald clip should not be shown here, okay?
I don't have it, lucky you. I didn't choose that one, lucky you.
Yeah.
You know what I chose, though? I chose the 12-minute bot lane fight where everyone and their moms TP'd bot lane to get Flakked ahead.
Okay, so this is a very good call from our solo laners. They communicated they have TP advantage, so they can TP bot. Then Mersa kind of inted. I think it was not like, we were not like super on the same page that we were gonna TP right now, but Mersa made it happen, hooked in, we got 2 kills for Draven. We kind of came back to the game. I was not in clip, I was busy doing Drake, as a good jungler should.
But everyone came bot lane for your assistance as well, right? Because if they came for you, your team would be ready.
Yeah, I mean, I was both sides of the map, and I just didn't want to gank Flakked's lane. Because the thing is, he already died 2v2 when we were fighting Herald. And that was so disgusting that I said, I'm not ganking bot lane. So then when my whole team went bot lane, I just refused to do so and killed Drake.
All right, so if you don't have your bot lanes back, the rest of the map does, apparently.
I hope so.
Well, they absolutely did. Well, that was a fantastic showcasing of how you guys actually use your teleports, and that's what I wanted to ask you about. You guys had a very rough start of the split in spring, but yeah, you're absolutely stomping through these games. What has changed? Apart from the players. Apart from the players.
I mean, so we had like a 3-week bootcamp prior to Summer Split where we were trying to prepare because in the end, the only way for us to be relevant for like the rest of the year is to be top 3 in Summer Split, which is going to be hard nonetheless. So we are just trying our best to, pick up some wins, get to group stage, and then hopefully get to BO5 so we can compete in the championship split.
Right, and of course, the elephant in the room. You're reunited with Flakked. How has it been having him back in the team? He absolutely popped off in ERLs. He popped off at EMEA Masters. And we're like, yeah, but it's different. But he's popping off on the big stage too.
I mean, it's absolutely atrocious. I really hate playing with Flakked. He smells bad. And,
hey, he said that about you yesterday as well.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
Okay, well, anyway, I think he's a very talented AD carry, right? I mean, I played with him in G2, and even though we didn't do much at Worlds, we still had like a pretty good regular season both times. And I think his personality is like a very funny guy, so he brings a lot of positivity to the team, which Jack also did. But I think I'm just more on the same page with Flakked, that we played together for a longer time and also like on a higher level than just 8th and 9th as we did throughout this year. So I think I really enjoy playing with Flakked. I'm happy, he's back. And I'm very happy for him that he has such a banger games. Of course, it's not hard to look good when you have me in the jungle.
You didn't gank for him?
No, I mean, I carried him throughout this game. Basically, I was micromanaging him. I was saying, like, if you dash on Yumi right here, you can get first blood. You just need to ignite. So I do micromanage him, but I'm really happy he looks good on stage.
And you guys look good playing all together. Would you like to send him a message? Because he's sitting over on the other side of the studio in PGL.
Sorry, what?
Would you like to send him a message? He's sitting on the other side of the studio for PGL. There he is.
Oh my God, look at him. He's so ugly. Yeah, I mean, have fun on PGL, bro. We are not gonna wait for you, so you can get your own cap and see you at home.
Lovely. That's what we love to see. Frankie, Ender, Flakked, over to you for PGL. Thank you, Jankos.